For Krima Media's Polity, I'm Sane Dlamini. Researcher and analyst Professor Raymond Suttner joins me to discuss Zuma's 9 wasted years and the question of renewal. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you.
This has made a lot of headlines since Ramaphosa addressed Davos. Can you also tell us, Raymond, if you think the past 9 was really a waste, and is it fair, from what we've heard now in the news, to blame it on the individual?
Well, it's not my phrase. You know, I think a waste is attempting to generalize things. I think lots of money was stolen, trillions, some people say, trillion rands or $1 trillion, and it was a period of illegality, it was a period of corruption, it was a period when the poor suffered because what they were supposed to get was not provided, or provided in a shoddy way. In schools, you still have pit toilets, didn't get textbooks, a whole lot of other things. So it was wasted, but I think we still have to find people who will deliver, because many of those people who didn't deliver, who are not directly related to Zuma, like the Minister of Education, is still around, you know, so that it's fine to say it was wasted, but what are we going to do to remedy that?
What do you mean when you say that these allegations of wasted opportunities, they represent a double-edged sword for President Ramaphosa and his followers?
Well, a double-edged sword means that you can aim to inflict injury on someone else, but you also inflict injury on yourself, because as the ANC said, all these people who are attacking President Zuma were present. They were in the leadership. They were right next to President Zuma, and they claimed these were collective decisions. Now, I don't think it's completely accurate that these were collective decisions, because Zuma did a lot of these things on his own. However, the problem for Ramaphosa and them is that when it came to approving or disapproving of the Nkandla spending, all those things, they went along, they actually actively supported it, and a number of other things. No one said anything about social grants right till the end. So the sword aimed at Zuma can also injure themselves.
You are also saying that the fact that these people who were supporting Zuma at the time, that now they are against what is done, is not wrong, but you are saying it's important to address questions like what the proposed closing of the Zuma chapter entails. Why must we focus on that?
Well, you know, it's the character of the Zuma era was not simply one of corruption and state capture. It was also a period of extensive violence and gender-based violence, sexually-based violence. A lot of these things get lost because people are tallying the numbers. I agree completely with going after those who are corrupt and the state capturers, but I think we've got to understand what is it that we want to make into a new dawn? What is it that we've got to eradicate? And I don't think they've come out with all the characteristics. There's also questions of culture, the notion that there's one meaning to the culture of Zulu-speaking people and so forth, which are part of the Zuma legacies, which I think have to be remedied.
You are also saying that President Ramaphosa appears to be unclear on what it means to turn his back on Zuma. What do you mean by that?
Well, that's what I was just referring to now, in the sense that if you are turning your back on Zumaism, then you've got to understand what is the character of the Zuma period, which I said tends to be articulated as relating to corruption only, and the social character of the period, the extensive violence, the gender-based violence, all of these things which have some bearing on the conduct of Zuma himself. These things have to be articulated. Now, that's not part of the discourse. I wonder presumably in the State of the Nation there will be something saying we're going to take steps against the scourge of gender-based violence and the attacks on the vulnerable. But you get the impression that's ritual, that they don't really think of it as a priority.
And lastly, you say that it's important for us as citizens to build connections between these various manifestations. How do we do that?
What I was saying is that if we want to have a new dawn or a new situation where we remedy what has happened to South Africa, we must not look to government alone. We must look to ourselves, what we're experiencing wherever we are based. And all of that needs to be turned into organized formations that connect with one another in order to hold government on course. One of the problems I mentioned there is that since 1990s, the connection between the ANC and the ANC-led government and the masses has been ruptured. We have to reconnect that, but we have to connect it not just with the workers and the poor, but with all who want democracy in South Africa.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
That was Professor Raymond Suttner speaking to Crema Media's Polity about Zuma's 9 wasted years and the question of renewal.